Alan Flanagan, Wendell Green, second half adjustments. Great way to spend a Friday evening.
This is happening in Auburn, Alabama. We're a football school, but we're also an everything school.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zac Blackerby. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. For some of you, maybe your second listen, or maybe some of you tuning in Saturday morning. We really, really appreciate you, regardless of when you're tuning in. Instant reaction as Auburn defeats USF in Friday evening action, 67-59. It wasn't always pretty. Let's bring in Auburn message board legend, who is pretty, Charlie 5. Really rough first half. Really bad first half. Halftime adjustments. They started to get a little bit more comfortable the first 5 or 6 minutes in the second half, and then after that, it was pretty much all Auburn.
Yeah, man. Early in the season like this, when it's a new team, new lineup, just win. Just try to figure out ways to win. They were cold again for the third straight half, and you sort of get nervous, like, man, what's going on? But eventually the buckets just have to start falling, and they started doing that in the second half. And 40 plus points in the second half.
46.
Huge turnaround, and they got the dub. That team, that USF team, that is a team full of grown men. They are a very mature team. That's the most physical defense we're going to see for quite a while. So,
down low especially. I mean, they were. I texted some folks throughout the game, they were just abusing
manhandling
Jani Broome, and the rest were just letting them do it. And I mean, I don't know if Auburn could have gotten away with it on the other floor or not. We just didn't really do it, right? I mean, we just weren't as aggressive around the basket defensively as they were, I don't think. So
20 offensive they had 20 offensive rebounds. That's not good. That's not
good for us. It's good for them. Yeah.
Especially at home. That's not a good thing. We just weren't catching bodies like we're supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of weird rebound bounces they were getting that we just weren't really in position. It just a little sloppy, but good. This is a good game. Game 2 to go back and look at some things and tighten it up.
Yeah. Yeah. Our poll question is, which Auburn Tiger impressed you the most tonight? I've got Wendell, Allen, and Chris Moore on there. I'm getting a few comments that I see down here. I probably should have put Dylan Cardwell on there, but that's okay. Dylan had a pretty strong second half. I guess he was cramping in the second half. Is that what that was?
Get the child some mustard. We can't be cramping. Let's get the child some mustard, some pickle juice, something on the sideline. We got to get this fixed. We got to get this cramp situation fixed.
Yeah.
It's game 2.
Uh-huh. No question about it. Yeah, you should be in shape, boy. Let's go.
Seriously.
Let's go. Wendell Green impressed the heck out of me in the second half. Still not super efficient statistically, but 20 points on shooting 11 shots. You take that despite being 5 of 11, but got to the free throw line 11 times. You make 9 of them. Probably should be closer to 10 or 11. But still, I think this is going to be an offense that I think there's going to be exceptions, but for the most part, it's going to start and stop with Wendell Green.
Oh, for sure. And late in games, this is something that we saw him do a few times, a lot earlier in the year. He can just close out a game where he can just get to the hole, and he's either going to score or get fouled, and he's going to hit his free throws.
Yeah.
That was a big game for him because I feel like towards the back half of last year and then even the last game, I mean, he scored a lot of points last game on poor shooting. He's still not hitting it from 3, but these type of games, this is what we have to have. Clearly, you have to have Wendell be Wendell. The alley-oop that he threw to Dylan was just absolutely insane. I threw everything across the house. I just went crazy. It was unreal. That's the kind of
Allen had a nice one too.
Oh yeah.
Nice little hoop.
If I was going to pick the 3, I was most impressed by Allen tonight. He was the glue that kept us from getting completely run out in the first half. And there's nobody that needs that worse than him. And he had a great game. I was very proud of him.
Well, and one of the comments in the live chat right now brings this up, and I made the poll question at halftime. I'll set everything up. And I put Chris Moore in there because he had that monster dunk that got everybody excited. He did not care about that opposing person, did not care about his family, which is great. You love to see that. But he kind of got the offense going as well in the first half. When Auburn had a hard time getting things going, he was 3 of 3, 7 points, nothing extremely flashy.
Yeah.
But we've talked about this time and time and time again. Bruce Pearl teams have found success because you've got, your Jabaris or your Harpers and your Bryce Browns. And this year it's going to be Wendell and somebody else probably rotating throughout the season. But you always have your Malik Dunbars or, whoever. This year, I think Chris Moore is going to be one of those guys. Jalen Williams, it seems like he's been here forever. But it's like, when they're in, they're not necessarily going to take over the game in most cases, but they're going to do just enough where it's like when they're on the floor, they're efficient, they're effective, and they're consistent night in and night out. And I think that's what Chris Moore is. Spark
plug. It's tons of energy. They go full 100% off energy. It's like effort and energy, and that's what Chris Moore brings. A lot of the points that he gets,
if you will.
Yeah. A lot of the points that he gets, a lot of the rebounds he gets are just sheer, like, I just want it more than you do. Like, I'm just going to go get the ball. A couple of big offensive rebounds tonight, putbacks from him just out. He's not that big. He's 6'6". He's very well put together, but he's not just a towering figure, but he just goes in there and just makes it happen. He's like, I'm just going to go get it. And he just goes and gets it. And I really have enjoyed watching him sort of this early part of the season blossom. I'm excited about him.
The struggles on offense, I don't think are going to go away anytime soon. I know you mentioned it's the second game of the season, and I hope that's it. I don't think it's going to ever really go away. You may have nights where you shoot better. What was Auburn from 3 tonight? 20%?
25, yeah.
Yeah, 20%, which is better, right? It's better than it was. Low bar. But I just think I don't think you can ever rely on it to be much higher than that. There's going to be nights where it's going to be Charlie 5 and Auburn's going to run those teams out of the gym. Like, it's not going to be close. There's going to be nights where they catch fire and they're 35 to 40% from behind the arc and they're going to win by 15 and it's going to be great. But I just don't think you can rely on that anymore. So to me, it's all about the defense. The fact that they were able to stay in it in the first half with really bad offensive play because of the defense, that's going to be good. Now, when they run into a Kentucky or a Tennessee or an Alabama, well, maybe asterisk next to Alabama, their offense hasn't really started yet, but I think it will. Are they going to be able to do that and then kind of be in a situation to come back in the second half? That to me is the biggest question once conference play starts.
That was the biggest question when we started to sort of see us slide and we hung on at the end of the year last year. Man, we just don't seem to have that reliable shooter. We just some people do. It's like it's a different person each night when we do hit them. Flanagan right now looks like probably our most confident 3-point shooter, and that's kind of scary. Just being honest. Zep just for some reason won't shoot, and he's not
0 of 3. He was 0 of 3 from 3. Zep was, and 0 of 4 from the floor. Like, do you want him shooting more than that?
But I'm just saying, like, he'll get a look and he just will pass it up. It's just that nobody seems to really have confidence, especially from 3. It's just, man, we got to figure something out. I thought, we'd be a little bit more efficient inside. Broom had Janai had a really bad game tonight. But again, early on, new team, new lineup, you just got to find yourself, figure out your identity, and then just go with it. But I'm with you. Offense, I don't think this is going to be a team that's going to score 85 plus a game. I just don't see it. I think we're gonna just have to abuse people on defense, get it in transition, and then just will ourselves to wins. That's just how we're gonna have to do it. I can't even imagine what it was like at halftime. I would have probably just stayed out on the bench. I don't think I would have gone in the locker room.
Yeah, it's like I don't want to be yelled at by Bruce. Yeah, Bruce, I'm so sorry. Yeah. I didn't realize Janai was 0 of 6 from the field. That's tough.
Yeah.
That's really, really tough.
He didn't have a field goal all night. I think he hit 3 free throws, and he was 3 of 7, I think, from the free throw line. So it was just really bad. And a bunch of dumb fouls, just beat on rebound, just a bad game. Bad game.
And we talked about this a little bit after the opener, where like we listed out all the guards, and they were all like 1 of 7 or 0 of whatever. Like they weren't good. Guards were a little bit better tonight. But like Jalen Williams, an uncharacteristic 1 of 5. Janai 0 of 6. Zep 0 for 4. Katie Johnson 0 for 4. Katie Johnson didn't have a point tonight. And it's
I don't know if that's ever happened.
I don't know.
I don't know that he's never scored before. I mean, it's possible, but he was sort of all over the place. Got 4 fouls. He had like 2 within 5 or 6 seconds. I don't know. It was
friend of the program, Justin Ferguson. Noah saying Ferg just tweeted Auburn allowed just 111 points this week, which is the fewest through the first 2 games for the program since 2005.
It's incredible.
Right. I mean, thank you for sharing that, Noah.
This defense could be better than last year. I mean, for just being, which is hard to even imagine how that.
Can I say this? It has to be.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's no doubt. They don't have a choice.
It has to be.
They have to be. Yeah, they have to be, because the offense is going, unless Chance Westry is just the possible one and done that we think he is, and he comes back fully healthy. We're going to have some struggle wins based off of 100% off defense.
Let's talk about Chance Westry. So he warmed up. He looked pretty good. A lot of people were sharing video of it. He was doubtful going into the game tonight. I don't think anyone expected him to play. I think there was some hope, but it's like, why rush him back?
Yeah, no reason to.
And Bruce has been pretty consistent in like giving people time to come back. We saw with Alan Flanagan last year. Wants to make sure they're good. But there's this assumption that like he's gonna be this like elite shooter, and I hope he is. I really hope it is. I hope we're not putting him in a situation to fail because we're building him up to like, hey, you've got to be the sharpshooter for us.
I mean, if you're expecting that, I think you're just going to be very disappointed. I think
a lot of people are expecting that, though.
I think that we're hoping for a shooter, but I think we'll just take a scorer. I think he's going to be a scorer, a slasher. I don't see now what may happen. What may happen is that he may draw more attention, which will give guys like Zep maybe better looks.
Sure.
Or guys like Flanagan or Troy. Like honestly, like Troy was one of the guys that we were kind of hoping could be that inside outside, maybe a 30% from 3 type guy, and he's really struggled. But I don't feel like he's really gotten a whole lot of good looks. It's a lot of late.
Yeah, I haven't really noticed Traore in space a whole lot.
Yeah.
To me, he looks like a guy that's still learning the speed of the game.
Sure.
And yeah. I think in a month, I think he's going to look like a totally different player.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm with you. He's young. And, again, he, like you said, he looks uncomfortable. It looks like it's going too fast. It may take a few games for him. And when you got young guys, a lot of times you see them get better as the year goes on.
Totally.
It's hard you don't have Jabaris all the time that just come out game one and they're just lights out. So,
yeah.
But back to Westry, I don't think I don't see a 35% 3-point shooter from this guy. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think that's what we even really want him to be. I think he's going to be a 2-3, combo guy and slasher, finisher, play defense, and draw a lot of attention. And then I think the big guys are who's going to benefit. I feel like from Westry, the drive and dish. I feel like that's who's going to really that's who's going to benefit, because we don't really have. You have KD and Wynn are about the only two that you feel like off the ball, like off their dribble, can break down their defender and get to the basket.
Well, KD doesn't want to do that right now.
Exactly.
He wants to be an outside shooter, and I don't think that's who he is.
This is definitely not who he is. But Westry can be that third guy.
100%.
And he's big enough that he can finish, and he's also big enough that he can have a little bit better vision when he's in there, and it's in the it's clogged up or whatever. the big guys I feel like are going to really benefit from Westry.
All right,
But
Charlie, 5. In just a second, I'm going to ask you what do you think the biggest difference from the first half and the second half was, especially offensively? What did they do differently that you liked? But I got to tell you about our friends at Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy, it's a free app. It's so exciting to play. It's the best way to play daily fantasy sports, also season-long fantasy sports. And really not a whole lot of options out there as far as playing college fantasy sports. So college basketball is up at Underdog Fantasy. College football is up on Underdog Fantasy. And you can see it down below. You can double your first deposit up to $100. Just go to UnderdogFantasy.com or their free app. I like their app a lot more. Use promo code LOCKEDON when you sign up. All right. What do you think the biggest difference from the first half and the second half was offensively? Charlie 5.
Man, I wish I was enough knowledgeable X's and O's to say anything other than it just kind of looked like shots started falling. I mean,
sometimes
we were
as simple as sometimes
we were being a little bit, I feel like we were being a little bit more careful. I'd love to see turnovers from the first half to the second half. I don't know mechanically what we did to limit those, but for whatever reason, we just seemed to get better looks, be a little bit more efficient. And then defense, those guys couldn't hit anything. Like we played such good defense. They just couldn't score. They couldn't score, period. They were 2 of 14 from 3. They just weren't really that big of a threat. The only times they really bothered us is whenever we, that would get those second chance points, those second chance rebounds, offensive rebounds. Right. But as far as from a schematic standpoint, I didn't really see a ton different other than we just protected the ball a lot better.
Yeah,
I guess.
Sam is asking, will Westry be more consistent than Al and KD? So far this season, I think Alan Flanagan has been the most consistent offensive threat on this team.
Yeah,
I mean, it's 2 games. It's a small sample size, but I mean, I think what he did tonight was pretty solid. So I don't know about that. I mean, KD.
It's a low bar, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of KD's thing. It's like you don't really know what you're going to get from him.
Yeah, it's kind of a low bar. Al is he has all the potential. Tonight I hope is a precursor of things to come, and not just one of those games where he just kind of puts it all together, and then he's going to be up and down the rest of the year.
Allen was probably the most impressive player in the exhibition game. Mm-hmm. And he showed moment. I don't remember him shooting it a whole lot in the opener. I'll pull that up in a second. But I don't really remember him doing too much, which is kind of a good thing. But, I mean, tonight he was the most efficient player. He shot the ball 10 times. He scored 18 points. He was 3 of 6 from behind the arc. He was the only player that made more than 1 3 for the Tigers, right? Wendell was 1 of 5. Yohan was 1 of 3. Like,
he did have 5 turnovers, though. That's what comes with the game with Al.
That's true.
Don't do too much. Like there was one play where they ran a pretty good little set play. He gets the ball and it's like just shoot it, but he tried to do this cross court jump pass and ended up almost throwing it away. Wendell saved it, and then we ended up turning it over. It's like if. Allen's got to learn how to just play within Allen. You know what I mean? It's like, don't try to be the fast break guy, because you can only dribble your left hand. And that's, don't try to be in control of yourself. Just try to be a little bit more control of yourself. You're very athletic. You can make things happen, but you can also it's like when you get running, you sort of, your momentum gets going too far forward and you lose your balance. That just seems to happen a lot with him. I don't know how Westry, we don't know a whole lot about him. I guess our hope is he can be more consistent. I
think we're putting a lot on a true freshman.
We are, but we've had a lot of luck with those lately. So
that's true.
And there is a lot of people. That's one text I got whenever he got to campus and started practicing was from somebody within the close to the team, was one and done. So I mean,
that'd be great.
We've had a lot of success with those guys, so we just have. I'm just saying, we just got to see how he fits in this lineup. He's going to be good. Like, he's going to be really good.
100%.
But not a set shooter. He's not going to be your 35% 3-point shooter.
Yes.
He's going to be your slasher. He's going to be what you wish out. He's going to be what you kind of hoped Allen would be for 4 years.
Yeah. And I want to be clear with what I'm saying. Like, I think Westry will be good, but he's being talked about as he's going to change the complexion of this team because of his three-point shooting. And I hope that happens. That's just, I'm not predicting it to. I think he'll be fine. At shooting the three, but I don't think he's not going to be Bryce Brown. He's not at all. I think some people are acting like he's going to be. And I just want to say,
or hoping. I think it's more a hope than anything, but no, that's just not his game.
Cam asked, is Broom injured? So he was battling a lower leg injury. I thought it was a foot. Then somebody corrected me last show and said it was an ankle, but it's one of those. Do you know? Is it an ankle?
I think it is an ankle.
Okay, I thought it was a foot thing. But
he does not seem 100%.
Yeah. Well, he looked really timid in the exhibition game. But I thought he looked fine in the opener, but he looked worse again tonight. So I don't know what to make of that.
He looked he looked almost like he was nervous to get rolled up on or something like that. It was, I don't know. He didn't look 100%, and maybe it was just an off game in general, but it does look like there may be something lingering there.
Do you like Dylan more at center right now than him? I think I do.
I like Dylan's. You can only take so much of Dylan at one point in time. You know what I mean? You gotta have him in spurts, because that's just the type of player he is. He's a changeup. I would rather Broom just figure it out, but right in this game he was better. Dylan was way better. So
I think the first game he was better too.
Yeah, is
Dylan going to average 5 blocks a game? Like, is that going to happen?
That would be outrageous. He's got 10 through the first 2 games. So
yeah, I mean he's got 5 both outings. He may have gotten 5 in the exhibition too. So, I mean that would be tremendous.
Count them.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I still think the ceiling with Broom offensively is like light years ahead of where
his offensive stuff though is all like it's back to basket stuff and just presence around the rim, which I love, but can't be timid with that. And like I don't think he was helped with the refs. And one of the comments said, and I'm not a big like blame the refs guy, but I don't think they called it fairly. But Auburn was just so much better of a team, and like it didn't really, you couldn't really tell. But, I mean, they were just destroying Broom, and they were letting him do it. I mean, there was one where he got hit in the face, and they called that one, but it's just like that guy got beat up tonight.
He did. He took some blows, and they were big. Like that Chihuahua guy, he was like –
with the name Chihuahua, I mean, you're going to be big.
He had to be close to 300 pounds. I mean, and he took almost everyone in his fouls.
That was massive. Yeah.
Yeah. He used up all the fouls that he could use up and stay in the game. So he was banging. But yeah, he got beat up on. But you know what? I think that's going to be sort of the year that you see. He's going to be attacked quite a bit because of how imposing he can be on offense. So he's just got to get tough, and he's got to just make it happen. I mean, that's just part of it. He doesn't seem to thrive on contact like Dylan does. Dylan thrives for contact, if that makes sense. Like almost looks for it. Broom doesn't seem like he's really that much into it.
Why do you think that is? I mean, because Janice played more, right? Yeah. And he's been more productive in the college game, lesser level of competition, obviously, at Morehead State. But do you think, like, was he just so much better than his competition? And so he's having to adjust a little bit. But, like, it's not like he's playing the SEC yet, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Morehead State played the South Floridas of the world.
Sure.
So, like, I don't even know if that theory makes sense. I mean, it could always be he's not 100%.
Honestly, I think that has to be what it is. It's just he's just not 100% yet, and he's nervous. When you're big guys like that, and there's dudes rolling around on your feet, and your feet are already injured, this just makes you play a little bit more timid.
Trey Donaldson scored his first points. I don't think he scored in the opener, so his first points of his Auburn career. 4 points off of 2 of 3 shooting. He missed the only 3-pointer that he made. He did not get to the free throw line, but played 10 minutes plus minus a 3. I really like him. I'm curious to see how they use him, especially once Westry comes back, how that impacts his minutes.
He looked like he belonged tonight. The first night the first game he looked a lot, very lost. He was a liability, and shot looked awkward tonight. He looked confident. He looked like, he just looked like he belonged tonight. He looked like he's a freshman guard who can play. And I was ready to send him to the football team after the first game. I was like, there's just no, but he looks like he belonged. He looked like he looks like he's going to be a player.
I can't wait to watch him develop. He's going to be fun. Back to Janai just for a second. I think I wrote in one of the previews at auburndaily.com, Janai needed 4 points to get to 1,000 points on his career, and he got 3. So that stinks. He's at 999. So he'll get to 1,000 next game. So that's pretty cool. Hopefully Auburn does something cool for him.
That's awesome.
You and I have talked about this before. I probably overvalue the plus-minus stat, Charlie 5, but for what it's worth, Jalen Williams led the team by a decent margin, plus 12.
I don't even know how that's possible. I assume it has to be defense and maybe timing of rebounds.
Well, because he had like his worst shooting performance in a while. He had 4 fouls, 1 of 5 from the floor, 0 of 4 from 3. Like, that is not a Jalen Williams type night. But still, Jalen Williams, it's like he's infectious. It's like he's infectious when it comes to plus minus. He's always good at it.
It's crazy. It's crazy because, he was wildly inefficient on offense tonight, but he had 8 rebounds. So that has a lot to do with it. 6 defensive rebounds, which shuts down the second chance points. So that obviously helps limit their scoring, which could help the plus minus part of it. That's crazy.
Cam says Zep needs to just spot up and shoot. He scares me when he dribbles. It's a little odd. He was a point guard last year, so that's a little interesting. Yeah. I almost feel like he's better with the ball. I think I don't love him off ball, if I'm being honest with you. I'm
going to be honest. Through 2 games, I said it. I'm not sure that I do. I'm not sure that I am either. I'm not sure that I am either. I think he is a good shooter. He's shown that he can be a shooter, but like we're trying to get him these looks off the ball. We're trying to get him these set looks, and it's not hitting. Like I don't know. I'm like you. I kind of like him with the ball better.
Yeah, needing to play Wendell more is hurting Zep in his last year of eligibility.
Yep.
And I'm not disagreeing that it's the best thing for the team. I'm not saying that it's not, but I think we would all agree that Wendell playing more minutes is good for Auburn, but I don't think it's good for Zep's production because I think Zep in his core is a point guard. I think he's a much better facilitator than he is a scorer. And being able to lock down the elite point guards in the SEC is something that's going to be great. And I bet he still has to do that defensively, even when he's playing the 2. But I think that's a little, I don't know. It doesn't look right. I don't love him and Wendell on the court at the same time. I just don't.
No, I'm with you. It's so far it's not been a good match. It's not been a good match. Chemistry part of it.
I don't know what the alternative is though.
I don't really either. That was what I was just about to say. I don't know of another option unless you take Trey Donaldson completely out again, like completely out of the rotation, and then you put.
He only played 10 minutes. He's not a huge contributor, but also somebody commented a second ago, like, I know this team's. The comment said, like, I know this team's deep, but Wendell needs to be playing 36 minutes a night. And it's like that's a lot. But I don't know. I don't know what you do in that situation because even when Zep started at the 1 last year and Wendell came off the bench, most nights Wendell was getting like 22 to 26 minutes, and then Zep was getting the remainder. So he was still the bigger minute getter, but I don't fully know what that looks like. Yeah, and people in the comments are agreeing with us there.
Yeah, the answer is probably the answer there is Westry's going to eat up a lot of the minutes. I think at 2. The 2 are where Zep's playing right now. So is Zep better off the bench? I don't know. Is that something that helps him? Could that get him in a better rotation with someone off the bench where he could, I don't Westry's going to really put a kink in everything for Zep. So I'm with you. I'm not liking off ball Zep right now. I like him better when he's got the ball in his hands and he's facilitating.
Yeah, I mean, I even like it when his main thing is like defending the guy, bringing it down the floor, and we saw that a little bit.
That's my favorite Zep. I mean
there's a lot of Zeps that I love, but that's the Zep that I love the most.
The most. Sure. Like, that's frustrating. Like, I would be if I was a point guard and I was playing Auburn and Zep was the guy that I'm have to bring the ball down the court. Like, that's just frustrating. That's got to be like you like lose sleep at night thinking about that. Like, God, 100%. just getting it across the the center
when
line.
They choose to press. Yeah, it's like what in the world? How do you defend that? It's like a mirror.
Stressful.
All right, hit us up, folks that are here live. Hit us up with questions. Sam asks, "What's our best lineup with Westry and without?" My answer may be the same until I see him.
Yeah,
but I think right now it's Wendell, KD, Allen, I guess Traore, and right now I'll say Dylan at 5.
Yeah. So that's with or without? With,
I guess I would obviously be without.
Yeah. With, I would think our best lineup's probably going to be like a Wendell, Westry, Allen, Traore, and Broom. Maybe could be your best lineup, and then without is, I mean, probably what started tonight.
You would say Zep is better at the 2 than KD right now?
Well, just from, I mean, neither one of them were good tonight. I'd probably start KD at the 2 just because of the energy on defense that he brings. The energy, and when he is good, he can be great. Mm-hmm. He can be great, and the crowd feeds off of him. So probably just rotate those 2 in. Those 2 would be the best lineup without Westry. They say Westry's going to play some point guard too. So he's a ball handler guy. This is not Alan Flanagan off ball. This is a guy that wants the ball in his hands. That's who he is. So there's some really unique lineups that could come about when he's back.
Yeah, and I think over the course of the offseason, I kind of assumed he'd be the 3. But I think the team needs more help at the 2.
Oh, without a doubt.
Because I like Chris Moore on the floor. I don't want Westry coming in hurting Moore's minutes. And like I don't want 20 minutes a night. From what did he play tonight? Chris Moore played 16 minutes. I think it's about right, don't you?
Perfect. That's about perfect. 15 to somewhere between 15 and 20 is perfect for him. Spurts, just come in there, high energy, grab, crash the boards, get some putbacks, stuff like that. That's perfect for him.
Yep. All right. Sykes asked, what would you consider a successful non-conference record going into SEC play? The non-con schedule stinks, as in it's very easy.
Yeah.
I don't think you could afford to lose more than 2 games.
Yeah, 2 losses is about where
it's pretty reasonable.
You don't want to be more than about 2. Memphis, I don't know how good they're going to be. USC,
I think they're like 80th in KenPom, I think.
Yeah. So you got Memphis, 81st. USC, Washington. No, Washington's still pre-conference. Yeah. So, I mean, St. Louis has given us a little bit of, fits when we played them on the road. We played them at home.
That was a crazy game last year.
Yeah. Colgate's been a tournament team at times. Yeah, I would say, honestly, maybe one loss. I would say anything two max for sure.
Because USC is not very good. I think Washington's okay. Memphis is the best non-con opponent per KenPom as right now, and things can change. We'll see.
I think that's the Atlanta game, right? The Hoops Giving. What that'll be. So
be thankful for Hoops. Anubis said Bruce just confirmed Janai's ankle is still giving him trouble. So thank you for sharing that. Anubis, appreciate it. Anubis also says Zep and KD combined for 0 points tonight. That is certainly an issue from the shooting guard situation for sure.
You're supposed to be the guard of the shooting. You're supposed. That's like your thing is shooting, and they didn't do very well tonight.
No, but that's all right.
If
a win is a win, got to figure it out.
I want it. Russell's shoemaker. If the 3 ball comes around, this team's going to go deep. I've said if they can shoot close to 30% from 3, like if you can just get to where you're around 30% from three, this team will blow teams out of the water because of their defense. They will absolutely destroy people. The only thing that's keeping like these games close at all is the fact that we're just shooting sub 20% or less. I mean, you're talking 3 or 4 more threes. We cover the spread.
Yeah, you win by 20. Yep.
Yeah, you cover the spread. And
you could have said the same thing in the opener too.
Yeah, and
against
I think
old George.
We covered that game. We still covered in the first game, but like you win probably by 20 or 30 in that game. Like it's if you can shoot 30%, if they can just figure out, and I don't know how you figure that out. I don't know that that's something that you can just like figure out. It's just if you can just get better looks. I don't know what you have to do, but if you can just get to 30%, this team would dominate. They would absolutely dominate.
Yeah. And this is a year with the SEC where it's like there's some teams that seem significantly better than us right now.
Oh yeah.
And I haven't felt that way this early in the season in a while.
Sure.
But like Kentucky looks way better than us. Tennessee looks way better than us. I hate how good Arkansas looks. And it's like we were projected to finish ahead of Alabama, but like Alabama, I don't know what they're doing tonight. I think they play tonight, but they shot 10% from three in their opener. So we're not the only ones going through this. But hopefully we're able to figure it out.
Yeah, Arkansas beat some children by 30 tonight. Fordham. I don't even know where that is, but and then Alabama stroked Liberty. They shot pretty good tonight. They shot 45% from three tonight. So
and Liberty's like a Q2 win. Like Liberty's not awful. All right. So Kentucky wins by a lot. Southern Miss beat Vanderbilt. I think Vanderbilt lost to Memphis too. So I think Vanderbilt's 0-2, which is fine. Ole Miss beats FAU 80-67. Florida beats Kennesaw State by 10. South Carolina with like a buzzer beater to beat Clemson by 2, 60-58, which is fun. Mississippi State beat Akron 73-54. You mentioned Arkansas killing Fordham. A&M beat Abilene Christian.
SEC had a good night.
Yeah, they did. Georgia lost by 10 to Wake Forest. That's funny. But
so that's 12-2 on the night. So that's pretty good.
It's pretty good. Yeah, then they went 11-1 or 13-1 in the opener. So
yeah, I mean it's going to be a strong league. I mean you're like this is the kind of year where you're like looking at let's just try to be above 500. We may develop and become incredible, and we may go on a run, but like. If you don't get to where you can hit threes consistently with the way they played the first 2 games, like you're looking at let's hope to be above 500.
I think this is like we played 31 games. I think it's like a 23-8 type year. I think. Would you take that? If I told you 23-8, would you take that right now?
Absolutely.
You would?
I mean, that makes you're going to be anywhere from
you're probably like a 5 or a 6 seed in the SEC tournament.
Yeah. Yeah, and in the NCAA tournament, anywhere from a 4 to a 6. So, I mean, I'd take that.
You take that?
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I would want better, but, like, if I had to pick right now, like, that's another thing is, like, let's don't get spoiled on seeding. Like, tournaments. We're still going to be right there in the tournament talk. So, like, let's just, let's enjoy it.
Yeah, Russell says less than 10 losses just fine. Brooks says, boy, I miss Bryce Brown. I feel you on that. But yeah, it's like 23-8. Like that's probably before Bruce or before like 5 years ago. It's like a top 10 Auburn basketball season ever. So
we'll hang a banner. Really good season, even if you didn't win anything.
Yeah, that's more than 22 wins. Yes, please. Thanks.
Yes.
Thanks. Charlie 5, thanks for hopping on, filling in for Daryl. Really, really appreciate it. How can people find you, hear you, love you, all that stuff?
Absolutely. Just find me on Twitter, _Charlie_5, or in the Locked On Auburn Discord.
Awesome. Hey, guys, thanks for tuning in. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. I wanted to hit 7,300 subs this week. I think we're like 2 away. So if you're not subscribed, be sure to check that out. You can read all my written work at auburndaily.com, and we'll be back Sunday morning for a little morning after to recap Auburn and Texas A&M. This has been Locked On Auburn.